Hey, it is Bronze and Modern Gods. I am John, and there is Richard. What is going on, my friend?
Hi, John. I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling very charitable. We had a great time joining Elite Comics 11 for their Toys for Tots auction event that was live on Instagram this weekend. We had a lot of fun. We raised over $900, just the two of us, which was kind of fun and really good for those little tots.
Definitely support that 100%. Really glad that he invited us in to participate.
And if you're just joining us for the first time, we got a lot of new subscribers. We got a lot of pickup from that event. Welcome. We are Richard and John, and we talk about funny books. And if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, right there it is, Bronze and Modern Gods. And if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, why not do that and click like? It shows more people our videos. And I think I'm going to steal a quote from you, Richard, from earlier today. We want to be the TMZ of the comic book collecting world. Wait, no, you didn't say that, did you?
No, you said that.
I said that. What did you say?
I said we are the softer, gentler version of the comic book industry.
I agree. I think you used really BS words like integrity, stuff that I just don't believe in. Here we are. We got a lot to talk about today. We've got some major Marvel media announcements. I know everybody in every other show and every other thing you've read has already covered this ad infinitum, so we're going to do it too. We also have our special guest, Evan, our DC Universe expert. Evan, who's going to join us to talk about DC's future state. What does it mean? What's it all about? What's ahead for the DC universe? He's back by popular demand, and I don't say that hyperbolically because is that how you say that? Because you guys really loved Evan, and so we thought we'd definitely bring him back. So let's get things started by welcoming him. I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
That's got a big S on your chest.
That is an iconic logo for Starfire, correct?
Yes, it means hope, actually.
No, thanks for joining us, Evan. We're going to get right to it. Hot books of the week. This is our hot book. Usually it's a singular book that we focus on. This week it's like 7,000 books because the Disney Investor Day announcements for Disney Plus and Marvel were just over the top. We're going to try to go through this as quickly and as uniquely as we can. And by that, I mean, we're going to try to hit things that not a lot of other people have hit. Let's start with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is one I'm really looking forward to because I love the first Doctor Strange movie, with the exception of the first Captain America movie. Of course, Doctor Strange is my favorite MCU movie.
Yeah, Doctor Strange, I think, is going to be a gateway movie for a lot of characters that are not currently in the MCU. It's a perfect opportunity for Marvel to bring in all these other universe characters and give them a seat at the table for the next phase. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. He's replacing Tony Stark as Spider-Man's mentor, but who knows what this means? I mean, this is an opportunity for a lot of the Spider-Verse characters to come in. So we may see the first appearance of Miles Morales. And if we see Miles in the movie, you will hear me from California screaming. So I am really, really excited about the possibilities for this movie. Still don't know much about it, but as more information comes in, I'll be following this one very closely.
How much Morales? Miles Morales. I don't know.
And there's supposed to be a tie to the Spider-Man 3 coming out of this, so that's big. And I know you guys like to focus on forecasts. Those of you who have the number one for America Chavez, this is her big entry into the MCU. So that's a big deal. I love that character, so I'm excited.
I have to wonder also if What If is going to play into this at all. The What If TV series in Disney Plus, where the Watcher is going to be in it. You're talking about multiverses. If there's anyone who's involved with multiverses, it's our boy Uatu. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we don't even have that on the list. I mean, that's how many things that we have to talk about. What isn't even on here? Yeah, and that's going to be exciting. It's the rotoscope method they're using for the animation. Looks really cool, and it looks very Disney-like. So I'm really excited about that show and the possibilities that it also brings to to bring in new characters and also have different takes on existing characters, like Spider-Man as the Punisher, for example.
I have an old fogey complaint about What If. I'm going to be an old fogey here. I know why they're doing it. I get it. People are familiar with the MCU. It's all MCU offshoots. But I would love to see a real What If series where they adapted What If comics, like What If Spider-Man. Yeah, Fantastic Four. When Stacy hadn't died. Wait, she's back. Okay, never mind.
That's
hadn't died. Oh, wait, she's back. Never mind.
They're kind of doing it. They're kind of doing it in their own kind of way.
This will only be satisfying if they do They got to do what the.
Exactly.
Because you got to round out the what if with the what the.
All right, let's move on to my favorite right now coming up, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I got super excited when I saw the trailer for this because everybody's focused on Flag Smasher. Everybody's making speculation that this is going to be Flag Smasher, who first appeared in Captain America 312. If you don't have that one, you might want to grab it. I think it's a false flag, because while Flag Smasher is part of this, it looks like it's more about his organization, the terrorist organization Ultimatum. And Ultimatum has that logo with the world and the fist and everything. And that's what I think it's really about. And it just so happens to also be introduced in Captain America 312. So if you're looking for a spec book, stick with that. But it may not be Flag Smasher. It might just be more Ultimatum.
And the thing that Feige said during the announcement, it's actually a movie split into 6 different parts. So there's only going to be six episodes of this particular show. So it's not going to be they don't have a huge amount of time to develop characters. So I'm interested in seeing what they're going to tell in those 6 episodes.
And please let this be the redemption of the horrible version of Baron Zemo we got in Civil War. I saw some promo shots of the mask. I know he's going to put that on, but please bring the character some sort of better level of representation than the Civil War version. Ugh.
Is it going to be Helmet Mark 1 or Helmet Mark 2? Because if it's Mark 2, I'm all about the Thunderbolts. And that would be. I'm looking ahead to 2030 already. Wow, the Thunderbolts movies. All right, let's move on to Loki. This is another one I'm excited about because it is a crime procedural starring Loki, which is weird. I think I have suspicions how they're going to do it. I think a big giveaway is the appearance of the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, which, Richard, I know you read Walt Simonson's run on Thor. Evan, right. I know you probably read Walt Simonson's run on Fantastic Four, where the TVA were a huge part. So indeed. Thor 372 is the one to look for. Grab that if you haven't already. It's the first appearance of the TVA. And there's also a shot that is almost framed perfectly from the Vote Loki #1 cover from 2016. So time to hit the dollar bins once that sounds tomorrow morning.
I thought this was going to be kind of lame, as you just saw the title credits and all that for months and months. But the trailer that they showed was actually pretty fun. I'm actually really looking forward to this now.
Is there a way to bring back Black Widow also, since there's a shot in there that looks like what appears to be her sitting on a rock in a faraway land? Is it Black Widow's comeback?
Time travel, definitely.
Look at all the clues. He's on sort of like a TWA flight at one point, which looks very 60s. He does a DB Cooper thing where he jumps out of the plane with a briefcase full of money and disappears. If you don't know who DB Cooper is, youngins, go Google that now and go, wow.
What's his first appearance, DB Cooper?
DB Cooper, his first appearance, I know his first disappearance in the 70s. So Loki looks to be something pretty cool, like perfect approach. Don't try to do something deep and heavy and serious with Loki.
Right.
The right way to do it. The next one is all you, Rich, because I know you've been all in. You have put all your chips in the middle of the table for Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. Obviously, Kamala Khan has had a lot of play recently because of the Champions, for one, and because of the Avengers video game that came out this fall that featured her as one of the playable characters. So this is announcing a whole show focused on Ms. Marvel. There are a lot of hot books around her right now. There is Captain Marvel number 17, the second print with her first appearance on the cover. There's the Miss Marvel number 1 from her first solo series. And then there's the Marvel .1 with the regular cover, which is expensive. And then the I think it's 1 in 25 cover that is ridiculously expensive. So you have your choices there. There's still some keys out there that you could pick up. The Ms. Marvel number 1 had, for example, 7 prints. So there's some less expensive prints of that book.
What?
But no, this is a great time to pick up her stuff because we've got some time before the show actually is out on Disney Plus. So there's an opportunity to. I've actually seen prices not go as high as I expected them to go after the announcement. So if you find them, pick them up because I think this is going to be a long-term play.
I think she's kind of the young hotness, so it's a no-brainer to make a show for her, and I think her books are going to be worth some cash for sure.
I don't think anyone should sleep on Champions. She's front and center on a lot of the covers of Champions, the variants. There might be a longer term play for Champions. You know, it is all the next generation heroes. They're going that way. We might see some Sam Alexander appear soon somewhere. We've got Miles on the horizon. Who knows?
And the book is good. I mean, Champions is a good book in general. A lot of team books are here or there.
Not the real Champions. I have to say that every time.
Yes, there is no Herc in this one. But and another thing to look at, they cast a very young woman for the role, meaning they've got a lot of miles out. They get a number of years so that she can play the role before she ages out. Unless, of course, they age the character. But still, there are a lot of years in this, and I see there being more than just the Ms. Marvel appearance. She's been announced to appear in Captain Marvel 2 as well. So there's more play for her in this phase, and I bet you she's going to be in future phases as well. So this is something to definitely take a look at.
Well, look at you, Segue Master. Captain Marvel 2. What about it?
Get your Photon first appearance ready because Monica Rambeau is going to be in this movie. So I love her. I loved her as Captain Marvel. I loved her as she was the leader of the Avengers for a while. So I mean, in the comics, but I would love to see Marvel's CGI team using her powers on screen because the ability to change into any energy form is good to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Not only any energy form, but a teaser for a future topic coming up here, quantum energy, which will play a big role in a lot of things that are going on. But Richard, you flagged something possible for Captain Marvel 2 that really caught my eye in the show notes.
To me, the real dichotomy with Captain Marvel, the real energy comes when she battles Rogue. And the transfer of her powers into Rogue and that whole storyline was just fascinating to me. I see it as a possibility of bringing in mutants to the MCU. Having her fight Rogue, and that whole process brings in eventually the rest of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Potentially the X-Men. It opens a door and a possibility for mutants that the current MCU doesn't have. So I'm excited about the possibility for this.
That would be a wild bridge to bring the X-Men into the MCU. But I personally, as a comic book nerd, would love it. I don't know how many people would know who Rogue is in the general public, but that annual from the Avengers with Rogue's first appearance is awesome story writing. And I think that story would be great.
But they know Rogue from the X-Men movies from Fox.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the thing. There's all this built-in knowledge from another studio.
Okay.
We're going to talk about
to be fair,
Thor.
They know Rogue as a Southern girl who whines a lot and almost kills people when she touches them. And that's pretty much the extent of Rogue. I mean, there's so much more to that character. Oh God. I mean, the ability to use other people's powers and get their memories and all those things.
Her romance with Magneto and all that. Jim Lee. No, please don't. It's funny. Rogue is such a funny character because when she first appeared, in Avengers Annual 10, the whole story about Avengers Annual 10. There were 3 issues of Miss Marvel's original run that were not published. One of them, issue 25, ended up being published years later. It sat in a drawer for years. It was in a compilation book called Marvel Superheroes that came out quarterly. They burned it with Sabretooth was in it. And there were 2 additional scripted issues. And Rogue was in one of those issues fighting Ms. Marvel. So when you pick up Avengers Annual 10 by Chris Claremont's like, I'm just assuming everybody read these issues that never got friggin' published. And it kind of picks up in media res where you're like, who is this person with the weird striped hair beating the crap out of Carol Danvers? You know, he never addressed the fact that, eventually over the years they address, oh, here's what happened off screen that you didn't see. And she next appears in Dazzler. She looks like a 45-year-old woman because Frank Springer can't draw. And so, Rogue is the whole messy thing. So I can see going from beautiful little Anna Paquin, the piano girl, to being some hard ass in Captain Marvel 2.
But it's coming. I mean, it's hard to see them not doing that storyline, and a big battle between the two of them. It may come after the X-Men have been introduced into the MCU as opposed to being their entree. But to me, that's just such a great story. And it's a great way of having a villain that can actually go toe-to-toe with Captain Marvel.
Yeah. This one is way off in the corner. I don't hear a lot about it. Armor Wars. Classic Iron Man story.
Sorry, I rolled my eyes.
I know. It was one of those storylines that took Iron Man to the next level back in the 80s. Iron Man was a good book. It was just kind of like B-list. And then Armor Wars kind of happened. Dave Michelini, Bob Layton did this really complex story about Tony Stark's tech getting out into the real world, as it were, and other people using it, and him going out and trying to destroy it causes the first real big rift between him and Cap, all this stuff. And so the series is, okay, here's Rhodey, his War Machine, where, no Robert Downey Jr., from what we can tell. Not a lot of buzz on Armor Wars. Is anyone excited about Armor Wars?
Yeah, Rich, this is one of the ones that there's a handful of these in here where Rich and I discussed which ones we aren't sure we care about, and this is one of them.
Yeah. Can't warm up to it as a series. Sorry.
I have one friend that loves Iron Man, from back in the 80s, and that's all I can think of is Jason Hoadley, this is for you. But, in case you care, first issue with War Machine is Iron Man 282. If you haven't gotten one, it's already a key. It's already expensive. You might want to grab it now. Let's go to the big gun, Thor, Love and Thunder. Lots of activity already about Gore the God Butcher, played by retiring shy, extremely humble actor Christian Bale, who never causes problems on it. It's just a joy to be around.
Sorry, not a Christian Bale Batman voice fan.
How about I move all your lights, buddy? The first appeared in Thor: God of Thunder #2 from 2016, I believe. Book is already exploding. 9.6s are already $300 plus. I don't even want to tell you what a 9.8 is selling for, because by the time this goes on the air, it will have gone up even more. This is the book that seems to have lit on fire. So
even more so than Jane Thor first appearance. That's not doing much.
Some of the Valkyrie stuff is doing okay, but people seem to be really excited about Christian Bale joining the MCU. People, except for the directors and actors and technical people that may have to work with him. I don't think
as long as he doesn't do that horrifying Batman voice, it'll be just fine.
He will. The guy's name is Gore the God Butcher. He's gonna look like this. Hey, what's up, Mjolnir?
To me, the Thor movies are kind of marginal. I'm sorry. They're more world building than they are necessarily.
Sorry, I'm a Kirby guy, so I love.
Oh no, I love Thor as a character. I'm just saying the movies to me have been more character building and building the MCU rather than a really sharp story that advances some direct ideal that's independent.
It's Kirby Crackle come to life. That's what I like. Is like, I know that drawing from Thor number 168 or something. I literally see it on the screen. So maybe
you wanted this to be a TMZ drama fest. Here it comes. Thor movies are marginal. No, I like them. They're not my favorites. I think that I really love the Cate Blanchett Hela story much more so than the Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster.
Yeah,
of that, and way too heavy on the slapsticky comedy of Thor 3. So I like them, dislike them. They're not my favorites for sure.
No, I don't think anybody goes saying Thor is the best movie in the MCU, but they're great popcorn material. I mean, you just sit back there.
Yeah, as far as the Avengers saga goes, I mean, you could have the first one and not do any of the other ones and still come out with enough character to advance the Avengers storyline. It just was not pivotal like some of the other movies that were.
But Thor: Love and Thunder, the first half will be about his diet and his workout routine to lose all that weight from the last time we saw Thor, right? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
hold on. He lost the weight. No, he lost the weight before the last battle scene.
Oh, I forgot. He discovered the Asgardian hydroxy cut.
Right.
Now, Doctor Strange is the one I'm most excited about. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the one I'm most excited about after Doctor Strange, because when you're talking about quantum energy, you're only talking about one person in my mind, and that is my boy Wendell Vaughn, Quasar. Will Quasar be in this movie? I hope so, in some way. A bodyguard or a security guard somewhere named Wendell. Just give me that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be. I can't see them not putting Quasar into this movie in some form or fashion. I like the Ant-Man movies. I like Ant-Man, his original appearance as a play for this as well. I feel there's some real cool things they can do with quantum energy and bringing in other characters and some interesting storylines. They're fun movies. At least the other Ant-Man movies have been fun. I've enjoyed them. I also don't think necessarily they are cornerstone movies for the MCU, but I feel the MCU wouldn't be as rich without them.
Ant-Man, the end of Ant-Man 2 was pivotal to Endgame. It would not have been that without that ending. So I think you've got a couple of possibilities here. We obviously have Kang the Conqueror happening. That's already been announced. It's already been cast. Avengers #9 has already gone nuts. I would not hesitate to scoop up a Captain America 217 or an Incredible Hulk 234. First Wendell Vaughn and then Wendell Vaughn as Quasar, respectively. I think you might have Phyla as Quasar, which would really bum me the crap out, but I see why. So you've got a lot of stuff happening with Ant-Man and the Wasp. But here is another one, Richard, where, you put all your chips in on Miss Marvel, then you went back to the cashier's window and you got another $15,000 worth of chips and you added these to your pot. Ironheart.
Yeah, this has been pretty good for me. I've been specking on a lot of these titles, hoping and praying that there would be some movement in the MCU. So I am very happy. Yeah, Ironheart, Riri Williams, who is the next Iron Man, or the Iron Person. I think there are some really cool. First of all, the actor they cast as her seems to be perfect for the role. There is some really cool storylines I think they could do and use her the same way they used Iron Man to build the last phase of in the Avengers arc. So we have some really cool possibilities with this character. So definitely check out Ironheart #1, which is her first solo series. Iron Man #7 and #9 are some of her key books. They're already out the stratosphere, but you can still come across them in long boxes. I wouldn't stop looking for them.
And what team is she on again? She's on the Champions.
I don't recognize this. I refuse. Is she a Ghost Rider? No. Is she a Black Widow? No. Is she Iceman?
No, but if they're going to start building Miles and Kamala and Riri, and you got a Champions movie in the works already. You got the three main characters right there. So
can we have Hercules come mentor them at least or something? I don't know. By the way,
they do have a Hercules. Oh, not a Hercules. They do have a Hulk though. They have Amadeus Cho, so we haven't seen him yet.
Brawn. I am really bummed that her name is Ironheart because they really missed the boat by not calling her Iron Maiden, dude.
There is an Iron Maiden.
Oh, is there?
Oh, yeah.
Eddie?
No. It's a girl in armor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. From the Tower Comics, Thunder Agents, right?
Yep.
I'm sure right. That's fallen into public domain.
Yeah, no one else is using the Iron Maiden name. So, yeah.
All right, let's go through lightning round. Secret Invasion. Anybody care?
Fantastic Four #2. That's on my list to buy. So yes, I care.
Okay, Secret Invasion. We talked about it in the 25-year rule a few episodes ago. Skrull Kill Crew, if I can say it right. Thrill Kill Cult. Sounds like the plot of Skrull Kill Crew, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Secret Invasion plot where there's Nick Fury and I can't remember the Kree character's name from Captain Marvel 1 are trying to filter out all of these secret Skrulls. That was the entire premise of Skrull Kill Crew, except for the fact that the protagonists were turned into Skrulls by eating delicious cow meat made from Skrulls.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm not sure how that's.
So I would rather this was like a one-shot movie on Disney Plus. I don't know that we need a TV series for it, but it's got potential. Like
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. redo. Every week we're going to have a C-list or D-list character appear. And it's actually a Skrull. It sounds like a lot of continuity cleanup. Okay, anything we screw up, this show can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But this is along the lines of the other one that we're not too excited about, Armor Wars, where it's like, okay, Secret Invasion next. Mm-hmm. Blade, we've had it.
Those movies were so good. I don't know.
Hopefully,
I loved all three.
Taxes, pay your taxes, people. Yeah. You will get caught.
And honestly, but I mean, we sit here and talking about Blade, but if it weren't for Blade, we wouldn't have an MCU. So
you're not wrong. And the thing is, he's never been able to support a solo book. It just kind of dies. I don't know if anybody here has ever read the 2010-ish series that was written by Howard Chaykin and drawn by Bart Sears. No. I mean, if that can't sell, it's hopeless.
I mean, he is an Avenger though. So
yeah, I think
he's a current Avenger. Yes.
Yeah.
And Ghost Rider. If that makes you feel any better.
I just can't picture anybody else in that role and actually advance. I'm sorry, it's tied to the original actor. So
I got to go back to Evan for a second. Can anyone be an Avenger now?
Yes, basically, they hand them out like treats. Everyone's pretty much been an Avenger at some point.
Sure. Well, they've got West Coast Avengers. They've got they divide them into different groups because there's so many people who are members of the Avengers at this point.
Old fogey alert. I'm at the LCS and I see on the shelf this complete left turn here. Sorry, everybody. I see on the shelf a book called Savage Avengers, and there's Conan the Barbarian. Sorry, not Conan. Conan the Barbarian,
Venom.
The Punisher, Venom,
Elektra.
This is what happens when you give fans jobs. Okay, not everything has to be a fan fantasy, a vanish wet dream. You gotta protect the IP. Who's in charge? Okay, moving on.
It's throwing stuff to see what sticks. Okay, the next one is definitely something I'm excited about. Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
I was really excited to see in the MCU. Yes, the Fox has done a horrible disservice to the Fantastic Four over and over again, and I'm hoping that we actually have Kevin Feige do the original family, do them right.
Please don't do another origin story. I swear to God, we have seen their origin story twice on screen already. Don't do it again.
Well, they got to do something to bring to give the backstory, because there are a lot of people who watch the movies aren't familiar with the Fantastic Four because the movies has been a while since they've come out. But I'm hoping that to me the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom are married at the hip, and I'm hoping, even though Fox did it horribly, I'm hoping that they're going to use this as an opportunity to bring Doom in, or the next movie we're going to talk about is a possibility for Doom as well. But I think Doom is the perfect villain that right now the MCU is lacking in. There is no real centralized villain in the MCU. Doom and his Doombots and all of the different things that represent him, I think would be a perfect villain or anti-hero even for the MCU.
Talk about bad character IP development. They have let Dr. Doom fall so far from where he should be as a character in the MCU. Dr. Doom was to be feared. Dr. Doom was untouchable. You couldn't prosecute him. He had his own country.
Right.
He was 1 step, 5 steps, 9 steps ahead of you. You were playing chess and he was playing Venusian checkers. The guy was really a challenge in someone that stole the power from the Beyonder. And now, you see Doom. I haven't read the new series. I'm sure it's great, but he said sarcastically, right next on the shelf, right next to Savage Avengers. I'm sure it's great. But this is a chance for these people who I think in the MCU are a little bit more on top of IP than the people that are doing the actual comics at this point to actually step in and make this guy formidable. And it's kind of Black Panther 2 is the place to do it, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say Rich is on to something there, because if there's anything Doom is, he's the anti-Black Panther, right? He's got his own country. He's got a suit of armor. He's actually got a little more power because he's also a mystic. So there's a whole magic bend to Doom. And he's everything the Black Panther represents on the other side of the spectrum. So yeah, Rich is dead on the money on that one. That would be a cool place to bring him into.
And he represents, the Black Panther represents something Doom will never be: noble, loved, admired. So that's going to drive our good buddy Victor nuts. There's the psychological component to this. Why do you think Dr. Doom hates Reed Richards? Because his experiment blew up? No. Dr. Doom hates Reed Richards because Reed Richards has everything Dr. Doom thinks he deserves. And he does not have it.
And that's the kind of character that the MCU is missing right now. That kind of complex, multi-level villain / anti-hero. I think right now with Thanos dead, Thanos was good because he was a multi-dimensional character, I feel. But with him gone, what do we have? I mean, Ultron was terrible. So I'm really looking for them to bring in somebody who has the kind of chops that Doom has. And I think it's a huge...
Well, and that's why people love Loki, right? Because Loki has that personality where he's awful, but then sometimes you kind of need the guy, and then he comes through, but then he's awful again. And so, they go to the same thing happens with Doom, right? Like every once in a while, Richards has to go to Doom because Doom's the only guy who's good at X thing that he needs in the moment. And then Victor helps him out. And then maybe at the end, he actually was a help, or maybe he screws everyone over and takes the thing that everybody was going after in the first place, but you never really know. And so that kind of character is great because you can use them in many situations like that.
Right. You need a foil for Reed Richards. He's the smartest man on the planet, although Riri Williams and some other one.
Everyone's smart.
Amadeus Cho and
we got a lot of smart people.
Mastermind Excello, I call it.
So you need somebody of Doom's level to combat Reed Richards, and I think there's a big possibility. But going on to the next movie, which we were going to talk about, which is Black Panther 2, with the passing of the original actor for the role, Feige announced that they are not recasting it. So there is going to be a change. They're still going to do Black Panther 2. The question is, who is going to be in the role of the main protagonist? I think it's going to be Shuri. So
it has to be Shuri.
It has to be Shuri. So
I was Shuri until she went on her little tweet storm last week.
Yeah, but you know what?
We got to talk about it. We got to talk about
it.
Yeah. She went in and was made some strange comments about the vaccine. It caused some uproar, and she ended up taking a lot of flack for it. But it's people have to separate the individual from the character. And I also don't think in 2 years or however long it takes to make the movie, people are going to remember that she did this. So to me, it's a small aside, and everyone's human, right? Everyone has an opportunity to say something that they regret. It's just when you back it up and you double down on that thing,
right?
Then there's a problem, and she didn't do that.
Yeah.
So
Disney clamped down quick. Her social media accounts have been deleted. She's already kind of backtracked a bit. Now, I say Disney clamped down. I don't know what happened, but she may have had a change of heart.
There's too much money. I think it was Disney as well. There's too much money. There is already too much invested in her in the making or pre-production for the movie. So Disney was going to step in as her PR arm and take care of business. Because it's more than just her. It's as if Robert Downey Jr. said something stupid between.
Which he has done.
He has done. He has done several times.
Done. Yeah.
That's a really good point. People are really, you've got some fans that are up in arms about Shuri making these comments. I'm sorry, I forget her name. I don't want to call her Shuri, but I'm blanking on her name. But you have Robert Downey Jr., who was breaking into people's homes and falling asleep on their bed while he was whacked out of his mind on who knows what psychotropics. We do have the power to forgive as a nation and as a fandom.
Yeah, we have the power to forgive. So I wish we would use it more often.
Exactly.
But so we talk about Shuri as a protagonist. For the villain, there's a number of really cool choices. We've got Doom, because Doom covets the vibranium that Wakanda has. So, and there is a whole storyline, and there was a mention of the earthquakes underwater at the last Avengers, and there's some possibilities of Doom coming in as being the villain, and then one of my favorite characters, which is Namor, and there's a big war between Atlantis and Wakanda, and so that's also a possibility. Either one, I will be totally excited about.
Me too. I'd love to see Atlantis Attacks as like a Disney Plus series or a special summer event or something, just like the annuals. Just, don't let Rob Liefeld draw the cover.
So Submariner #1, if you're interested in picking up books, that's one to pick up. And one of my favorite, which is Marvel's Superheroes #20, which is a wonderful cover appearance of Dr. Doom. It's his first solo story. Both of them are still reasonable in lower grades, so if you want to pick those up, those are something that I don't think you will regret.
I highly recommend picking up Marvel Comics #1 from 1939 if you've got the extra cash, or Motion Company's Weekly #1, which is the actual first appearance of Namor the Submariner, which can be had for a song. Sometimes you see people post it on eBay, and you can just go in there and snipe at the last second. I highly recommend.
In case you're not, filthy rich like John is talking about, Fantastic Four #4 is Namor's first appearance in the Silver Age, and it's not cheap, but it's still more reasonable than Marvel #1.
Did you get yours? I know you wanted one. You were looking for one.
Yeah, I've got it up on the wall back there. I got it with the 4.0, and so I've got that, and I've got a Fantastic Four #5, which is First Doom.
Wait, I facilitated your FF4 trade, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I traded a 181, Hulk 181.
It's been a long year. That's all I have to say.
But no, those are definitely long plays for me. Those books are more expensive and more difficult to get in higher grades. So while I will always say those are good books to buy, for a general collector, it may be a tough haul. My 4.0, for example, was $2,000, and the Doctor Doom 5 now was going for $5,200. So that's some silly money for funny books. But if you can afford it and you have an opportunity to buy them, I think both of them are still good buys at this level before the announcements, because they will definitely go up once Doom or Namor get.
All right, let me backtrack. If you can't afford a Marvel Comics #1 and you really want a Namor key, buy Submariner #1 from 1940 from Bill Everett. That's much more affordable than a Marvel Comics #1.
Yes, that's true. You have the yacht, you could take it to the LCS and
mortgage your house by 1.8. Come on, cheapskates. All right, this has been 40 minutes or so almost of.
Yeah, and we have not even touched, this is all based on announcements that were made this week. There were also Star Wars announcements that were made that we are not going to go into because this is just not, this show is long enough.
Right?
It was a plethora, a veritable cornucopia. Oh, Marvel goodness, for sure.
Oh, it was a fire hose. And, as collectors, I saw people scrambling to figure out what direction to go in. When someone opens 10 doors, you got to figure out which one you're going to go through, right? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of the reaction to the announcement has been knee-jerk, and I don't think a lot of people are really thinking through yet the future and the possibilities for their collection to build them, to take advantage of these announcements. But in the coming month, we will see things shake out, and we will see which books are going to be the ones that people focus on. And right now is a great opportunity, because while some books are going up, they're not going to go up yet to the level I think that they will achieve. So pick your poison. If you're into one of these characters, start approaching buying their number ones and their first appearances now, because in 6 months, the books that you would want are probably going to be more expensive than they are today. So that's a word of warning.
I'm going to be bold. I'm going to make a prediction / give some counter advice, if you will. We know things are going to start opening up and returning somewhat normal next year. Who knows when, what extent, by summer, by fall, whatever. People's attention will be distracted again because they're not home all day. People will have time and money and ways to go out and travel again and go out and eat and spend money in different ways. I'm saying grab these books if you like, sit on them for a couple months, buy what you really like though. Dump them when you feel like you have to dump them. I'm starting to move in that direction, honestly. Things like Daredevil 25. I'm not keeping that book. I'm turning that around real quick, and I'm buying my, Captain America keys, my Tales of Suspense 58 and 59, my other things that I've been putting off forever, because this is I love using Daredevil 25 as an example. This is a $3.99 book. Plus, if you get 20% off at your LCS because you're a pull list customer, you got that. It's a $60 book at some point this week. Okay. Take that and put it in a comic book fund. Save. I have not made a Susie Orman reference in almost a month, Richard. I'm going to make a Susie Orman reference. So take this, flip it. Don't hold on to these books. I think some of them, if it is a show that has a name, Ms. Marvel, Ironheart, yes, maybe hold on to those. Those might be long-term. There actually must be some big grand plan for them. But things like, Secret Invasion #1, when that show comes and goes, no one's going to care anymore.
All right.
So if you're hoarding Secret Invasion #1s right now, thinking you're going to retire and put your kids through college, just like your X-Force #1s from the 90s, ain't happening, folks.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I was literally just thinking, I don't know how sustainable all this is, because I'm struggling with my viewing habits now. Like, I just got through Hellstrom. We had to set aside some time to work our way through it. If I get hit with 5 or 6 TV shows at the same time, okay, there's going to be some picking and choosing. There's no way I'm going to get through all that.
I own Marvel Spotlight 12 through 24. I own Son of Satan 1 through 8. I love Steve Gerber's run on that book. I love that character. I had to hide it from my mom, but I've not watched Hellstorm.
It's great. And it's actually really good.
But just the time management. There's so many hours in the day, and we're grown up. We have day jobs.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to manage this, because we talk 10 different, 12 different, 15 different Marvel properties. God, I've lost count. And on top of that, add 10 more Star Wars series or movies to that mix. And then DC. We haven't even talked about DC.
Yeah.
We
There's
got
a lot of DC stuff
coming up. And it's overload.
They've got shows in the pipeline too. They're planning on coming out with, there's rumblings of a Ben Affleck Batman series, and there's rumblings of a Peacemaker series, and there's rumblings of there are movies that are coming out. I can't watch it all. There's no way.
I'm just saying, Richard gave everyone the best advice. in an earlier episode, which was sit down with yourself, say, hi, self, how are you? And write a list of the top 10 things you really want in the next year in your collection. Blue sky it. There's no money is no object, because then you can take these things that are fleeting and ephemeral and flip them for a quick buck and put it into buying those things you really want to keep that you really like. And I think that's really the best advice. And let's go on, unless somebody's got something else. Richard.
Oh, no, out of my top 10, I got 6 of the 10 books this year. I did not get Fantastic number 4.2. I did not get Albedo number 2, but I got a lot of the books. And like you say, make that list here. We're coming up in the brand new year. Pick 10 books that you would want to add to your collection and focus on those. And the rest of it is either things that you're going to sell to finance your purchases, or this ephemeral things that are just going to come in and out of your collection for other reasons. So
look, youngins, you got 3 Grampies here telling you we've been through it twice. We've been through 2 crashes, and all 3 of us smell another one coming. And it's not pretty when books like Secret Invasion are in the dollar bins again, and you have a stack of 300 of them because you thought you were gonna retire. But let's move on to viewer mail this week. The first one is from Nerdy Father, who saw our comic book CPR video, how to crack, press, and resub. He said, amazing video, all caps with 4 exclamation points. I am a presser and cleaner as well, but I learned a few things from this video. Well, good. I'm super happy to hear that. That's probably, not probably, it's our most popular video right now with the most views. So it really seems to have resonated. And Richard, you've got one there.
Yeah, I got one from Chad Cole, who only uses 1 exclamation point. So love this channel. You guys come off so friendly and likable. And of course, the comic info is awesome. Well, thank you.
All right. Speaking of friends that we've known forever and being likable. Hi, Evan. You're still here because we're going to talk about DC Future State. What's ahead for the DC universe next year? Go.
Okay. I'm going to make this real helpful for you guys because I've done a bunch of research on this over the past week or so. And here's the way I'm going to frame it. So do you remember the rumors about 5G? DC's big event 5. Okay. So this is the replacement for 5G. Okay. So Future State is what 5G was going to be. Part 2 is I want you. So I know last time I was on, I told you guys it was like Age of Apocalypse, right? They're going to pause all their books for 2 months and they're going to focus on Future State. Okay. So there is, I think, 24 titles. So 24 books, January and February of 2021. They are going to fast forward the DC universe, Future State. That's basically what they're going to do. So they are going to start in the year 2025, going to end past sometime in the year 4000. Okay. So there's going to be a heavy series of time in between where things happen. And they're building a lot of it in the books right now. For instance, the new commissioner in the Batman books is going to be responsible for some vigilante laws that cause the Batman in 2025 events to occur. So they're sort of seeding some of that. And then I don't know how much of it's going to come out of the dark metal stuff that's going on. That's only got 1 issue left to go. So I'm assuming, because we're in December now, so they're going to probably wrap that up. But there's going to be a new Batman who we now know is Matthew Fox, the forgotten son of Lucius Fox. And his brother, if you don't know, is Batwing, which is one of the many Batman characters. So Matthew Fox is going to be Batman. Yara Flor is an Amazonian in 2 senses of the word. She's from the Amazon. So she'll be playing the role of Wonder Woman while Wonder Woman is doing other things. Batman is dead. Not really. So Bruce is still around doing his thing. And then Superman has to leave Earth to do some things. And so he puts his son, John, into the role of Superman on Earth while he's gone. So there is tons of things that are going to happen in all the various series. to go into it would take as much time as we just did talking about all the Disney stuff and Marvel stuff that's going on. But there are beats that are going to be interesting, like Amanda Waller is building a Justice League team on Earth 3, which is where the Crime Syndicate is from, which is one of my favorite villain teams ever. Suicide Squad is going to come after her, led by Peacemaker. There's going to be way in the future, at some point, the Swamp Thing becomes the de facto ruler of the Earth. So that's going to be a beat. So there's all these interesting, the Green Lanterns, the power battery doesn't work any longer, so they're struggling with that. The Flash has all kinds of problems with the Speed Force, and an entity from the Speed Force takes over the body of Wally West. So that makes him a villain again. So there's a lot going on. But anyway, so just know that. Think of it as a what if the future that only lasts for 2 months, has a whole bunch of stuff in it, ends in the year 4055 or some ridiculous number. And then eventually it'll all come back to the regular DC books. So
a back to basics, down to earth, relatable event.
So it's funny you mentioned that. So Richard and I were talking about that this week. And one of the things that Marvel struggles with is event fatigue, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like one big event. It's going to break the internet and all the ridiculous promotion that comes with it. And then that ends just in time for the next thing, right? And it's exhausting. And I think that DC is starting to suffer from what I will call reboot fatigue. So they're not giving enough time for things to gel enough to be interesting. And I'll give you a perfect example. When Bruce died, went back into the past, and Dick Grayson took on the mantle. And this is, Damian was a fresh Robin at this point, right? So you've got this happy-go-lucky acrobat from Bruce Batman, and this killing machine, serious, gloomy Robin, and they were together for a long time in real time. So you got to see them interact and solve crimes together and fight Batman's rogues gallery. Well, all the time people are thinking, God, Batman's acting really differently now. And then Bruce comes back, and Dick is like, "As always here. I'm happy to go back to being Nightwing." There was a nice end to that whole thing because they gave it time to work. And booting everything. How in the hell are we supposed to enjoy? Like, Wally literally just came back to being a hero, or came back from being forgotten, murdered his friends, went on the run, became the multiverse's greatest hero, came back. Everybody loves the guy, and now he's going to be a villain possessed by some of the Speed Force. That is way too much rebooting. How am I supposed to give any crap about Wally at all? Because there's no time to be invested in anything he does.
Right. And the new Batman, is there really any spec behind it if it's only for 2 months?
Yeah. Is he going to be a character beyond Future State? I have no clue. Yeah, it's going to get interesting.
I got a taste of that death metal alternate dark universe stuff, and now it's like, okay, let's do this across the entire line and see what sticks. This is not a DC problem. This is a comics problem. In again, old fogey hat on here. When is the last time you picked up a comic book and had a story about a hero fighting a villain and having it be resolved in 2 or 3 issues even? It just doesn't happen anymore. Everything is cosmic in scope. Everything has the multiverse in the balance. Spider-Man used to fight the Shocker in the sewers, and it was fun. And now I sound like I sound like a grandpa, but my lordy.
You go to the Marvel side of the house, and King in Black episode or issue 1, the entire Earth is surrounded by a giant symbiote. Like,
sure,
it's a lot.
That's why I tend to go towards books like Daredevil and some street level stuff. It doesn't have to be involved in everything that's going on in the universe, but that has nothing to do with DC. Like I said, it's a comics problem.
Right. And it's all about sensationalism, right? That's what sells books. You get people who buy books because they're reading the story, and that's, they're the people with the pull list, right? But it's not those people that are buying 5 copies of a comic book. It's the people who are drawn to the spectacle and the potential value, and the multiple prints and all that kind of malarkey that's going on in the industry. So I think that is what is kind of making a lot of these stories that are more epic in scope, because it's an opportunity to sell more books.
It's a marketing decision.
And that sweet number one that you get to have again, because DC probably remembers very well the new 52 number ones that they sold a hell of a lot of copies of. So if they could get the chance to have another number one, and then after Future State is over, they could do Tales from Future State, number one, Yara Flor, number one, Matthew Fox, whatever.
Evan, as a DC Comics fan, are you excited about this?
So I am. I really love Dark Metal a lot, a ton. Like I said, my only gripe is the reboot exhaustion, right? So, and I think to some extent, Age of Apocalypse is very much to blame too, because that was so good and so well received that it has been attempted several times. House of X was a horrible ripoff of Age of Apocalypse. So it's a great idea that everybody keeps going back to the well for. My problem is, can we have a year after Dark Metal before you go and do this? Like, you're coming right out of Dark Metal, right into a completely different universe at the horrible time of having a new Wonder Woman movie, having the Snyder cut of Justice League. And again, when I complained about this last time, your Trinity is now going to be different people. And the timing is the problem for me. The story sounds great. The timing is brutal.
It just kills the momentum for some of the stuff that was really interesting that was going on. Batman was on a roll. Joker War had people excited. It was that, as grounded as a Batman series could be, that street level stuff, the Rogues Gallery, introducing some new characters. People were into it. The prices were reflecting that excitement. And all of a sudden we got to hit the brakes on the Batmobile and talk about a fox running around in the Batman costume. So,
and kill Bruce again, by the way.
I just want to let DC know there are other African-American families in Gotham City besides the Foxes. I just want to give them a little hint there.
A couple, yeah.
There might be one or two. Not everything has to be Lucius Fox's groin, his loin.
You're making a good point, and Rich and I have talked about this too. And this is not just a comic book thing. This is a literally everything thing. Not everyone is related. Why does it always have to be somebody's brother, sister, cousin? Like, not everyone. That's why when Rey in Star Wars, it was revealed when originally she was told she was a nobody, I actually said, that's awesome. Very refreshing. Please just let her be nobody. Of course, she's not. And you find that out in the last movie. But I'm like, why does everybody have to be so tightly knit? It's just not plausible.
It's a dramatic device, and it's been around for decades. I mean, that was why one of the reasons Steve Ditko left Marvel, because he wanted the Green Goblin to be no one. He wanted the Green Goblin to be someone that nobody knew. And, Stan's like, that's a cheat on the readers. They're expecting some big revelation. So of course it's Norman Osborn. So, it's nothing new, but it is a trite device at this point.
It is. It's a cheap way of building drama and connection, right? If it's your son, you immediately have an unexplainable connection to that other person. Well, if it's some schmo off the street, you have to build that connection, and comic books don't have time for that. They only got 32 pages.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, is exciting about Yara Flor being Wonder Woman, because I don't know her. Like, I'm actually excited to see. The last time they did that was Jessica Cruz and oh god, I'm going to forget his name. The Middle Eastern Green Lantern, Simon Baz. That's why they were exciting, because they had no ties to. They were fresh faces. That's good stuff.
She's the lost sister of Diana. That's going to happen.
Oh, God.
All right, Evan, we're going to watch this. We're going to see what the reaction is. We're going to have you back after it's out and either praise you or flay you alive. So be prepared.
Just remember, it's a what if, it's temporary, it's future stuff. None of it will matter in 2 months.
Yes. Okay. Got it. If there's anything that's going to get me excited, it's stuff that won't matter in 2 months. Excellent. Speaking of stuff that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, I don't know. That's a bad transition, but it's time for the 25-year rule. Evan, you have to do it with us.
You got to do it. All right. Okay. That's close enough.
Thank you for joining us, Evan.
Sure.
All right. This one's all me. Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1. This was a strange little book that came out in 1995 after S.H.I.E.L.D. had a long run going into the early 90s. It was kind of a dead property at that point. For some reason, they decided to revive it with Howard Chaykin writing it. I got excited. I'm like, oh, put that on my pull list, please. Howard Chaykin writing a Nick Fury book. Last time Chaykin was involved with Nick Fury, it was Marvel Spotlight that he did with Jim Starlin, where they revealed why he takes the Infinity Formula every year, and he was being blackmailed by someone. Stan Lee read that story and said, we will never refer to this again. And it's never been reprinted until a few years ago. It's like they couldn't wait for Stan to die. Let's reprint this book. So I get excited. I get the first issue. It comes out. It's got some foily and bossy cover. Uh-oh.
90s.
Warning sign #1. Yes. Warning sign #2. The art is by someone named Corky Lemcool. It's okay. It's very hyper Liefeldian with a little better anatomy. I'm going to give it that. Lots of cross hatching, lots of gritted teeth, lots of splash panels, lots of explosions. Okay, I see. All right, I see you there. I can let that go. I'm trying to remember. I did a little bit of Googling, but there's something in the back of my mind that I remember reading in Wizard or Hero magazine or something back in the day that Corky was related to Howard Chaykin in some way, which would answer a lot of questions.
Why does everybody have to be related?
Evan, call back. That's why he's on this show. This was supposed to be a new ongoing series. Sales reports came in, and it was immediately truncated to a 4-issue miniseries. The first issues had a secret code inside that could only be read with a special viewer that came polybagged with issue #4. If that does not encapsulate 1995 in one sentence, I'm not sure what else will. Now, despite all this 90s-ness, this was Howard Chaykin. Therefore, it was a decently written book. It was really interesting. There was the dynamic about Nick and his son Scorpio and how they were trying to repair their damaged relationship. It remembered all the past continuity. There was no wiping the slate clean. This never happened. There were references to things from prior series. I liked it. It had a quick death. You can't go wrong with Howard Chaykin. We salute you, Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mwah. Back
the secret message was the secret message. Drink your Ovaltine.
No, I should have Googled that. I have it here. I should have really pulled it out and looked and saw what the secret message was. I think it was something like, "Please buy this book. It's going to be canceled in 3 issues." So that is our 25-year rule for this week. Moving on to our underrated books of the week. Now, Richard, I'm going to let you go first, but first I'm going to read the show note that I wrote to you when you wrote this. You wrote what your pick was going to be this week, and I went into the shared Google Doc and I wrote next to the title, "You bitch."
Yeah, you sure did do that.
I wanted to do this book. This was great. I wish I had thought of it. You're brilliant. Go ahead.
We talked about this earlier this week. The pick that I have is Marvel Tales #1. The annual from 1964. This book, for some reason, is not as popular as I would expect it to be. It's now, given it is a book of reprints, but what it reprints is amazing
For the first time.
For the first time, yes. I mean, this is 1964. Okay, so this is 2 years after Amazing Fantasy number 15. So it has a reprint of the 11 pages from Amazing Fantasy number 15, 6 pages from Incredible Hulk number 1, 13 pages from Tales to Astonish 35, which is the first Ant-Man in costume, a 2-page reprint from Tales to Astonish 49, which is Pym as a Giant Man. You've got a 6-page story from Nick Fury. You've got a 13-page story from Tales of Suspense number 39, which is the first appearance of Iron Man. You got a 13-page story of Journey into Mystery 83, the first appearance of Thor. It's amazing. All these stories, all compressed into one book. And for some reason, it just has not gotten the hype. Now, maybe it's because they're all reprints. I can kind of see that. But you open up the book, and the first page is the first page from Amazing Fantasy number 15, and it's only 2 years older than the original book. And it's got the same kind of paper, it's the same kind of ink. It's the same kind of book.
The inside front cover has a picture of the Marvel bullpen. It has their picture, so now you could see what Smiling Stan Lee looks like. Hey, how come he has less hair than he did in 1974? That was interesting. And I'm telling you, I'm with you 1,000%. I love this book. I bought my copy from Minor Keys Comics. Hey, what's up, Steven? I got it. I love this thing. It is so hard to get in grade. This is an early Marvel annual. The binding is all frayed on the corners usually on these things. This was a reprint title, so it wasn't cared for or loved. I'm completely stealing your underrated book of the week. I will shut up now and let you continue.
No, this is such a great book. An 8.0 GPA it's only $493. The last sale is $500. There are only 325 on the census and only one 9.6. As you mentioned, it's hard to get this book in high grade. But to me, this is just such a great piece of history, all in one package. And, if you're interested in any of those characters, the Hulk, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Thor, if you're interested in any of those characters, you will most likely not be able to afford all of their first appearances. You're not going to be able to afford the original of all these books. But you can buy for a couple $100 raw, which is what they go for now. You can buy this book and be able to read those same stories on paper that is only slightly less old as the original. To me, it's mind-blowing, the opportunity and the potential for this book. Given as those first appearances become, 5-figure books and then 6-figure books over time, this book is a great way to get that taste of these famous first appearances all in a reasonable package.
With the exception of Fantastic Four number 1, which was reprinted the year before in Fantastic Four Annual number 1, you have the foundation of the Marvel Universe in one book. Right. And there's an awesome new Jack Kirby cover where he draws these little vignettes of everyone that if you look at those vignettes that are on this cover, it's on the screen right now, you'll see it. They were used for clip art for these characters for decades after. I was obsessed with this comic book as a kid because at one point in the 70s, maybe early 80s, I think the 70s more, Marvel put out a sticker kit that had covers of number 1 issues. They were like adhesive stickers, and you had a sticker album, and there was a sticker of Marvel Tales number 1 in here, and I would stare at it, and I would like, wow, it's the origin stories of all of these guys in one giant book. I wish I had this book, and now I have it, and I'm like, you're not getting it until I'm dust in the ground, buddy. So I love Marvel Tales number 1. Great pick. My pick, since you went in my area, Richard, I'm going to go in your area. That sounds disgusting. Shazam number 8, the first appearance. A DC book, the first appearance of Black Adam since the Golden Age. Now, everybody's focused on Shazam number 28, which is the first new appearance of Black Adam, and actually only his second new appearance overall. Black Adam appeared in Marvel Family number 1 in the Golden Age and then never appeared again which is a weird thing when you think of how integral he is to the Marvel family as a foe. This book, Shazam #8, is a 100-page special. Loved those back in the day. This reprints his first appearance from Marvel Family #1. It is tough in grade. There are 11 9.8s on the CGC census. There have been no 9.8 sales on GPA since there was one for sale for $375 back in 2016. There is one exception. The Susha News pedigree sold for $503 in January of 2019, well ahead of any announcement of Black Adam and The Rock coming in a Shazam upcoming movie. So Shazam #8 is one that I think people really slept on.
I love the anti-heroes, right? Yeah. So Black Adam, Dr. Doom, Namor, these are all characters that are near and dear to me. So I am surprised that there isn't more, especially after the announcement of the movie, there isn't more movement, more pressure on the prices of this book, because to me, it's, this is the most affordable way of getting into the Black Adam keys. And it really has just not taken off. I'm thinking maybe waiting for a trailer will hit, and then we'll see all these books really start to hit spikes.
Good point.
It's kind of gone soft for the moment. So we'll see what happens when that next trailer, obviously they haven't had a lot of time to work on it with everything going on, but maybe they'll get into it in 2021. Well, folks, that is going to do it for this, which will probably be our longest episode. It's worth it though. Evan, we thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Love it.
Oh, for sure. You'll be back soon. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, shows our video to more people. Subscribe if you like. We love that. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you. Everybody stay safe.